What are central sensitivity syndromes? Central sensitivity syndromes belong to a family of syndromes that share the common mechanism of central sensitization. Central means the problem is at the level of the brain and the spinal cord. The neurons, brain and spinal cord cells, are hyperexcitable or sensitized because of changes in the way the cells communicate chemically and through other mechanisms. The sensitized cells amplify or make stronger messages that we get from our senses. For example, touch can feel like pain. Normal lighting or sound can be experienced as uncomfortable. But the cells are not just sensitized. They often send wrong information, and they can also trigger abnormal responses to the environment. For instance, the cells can send information to make your heart race, make you feel dizzy, or not regulate your body temperature normally. New sensitivities to food, chemicals, and medications can also occur. What predisposes someone to central sensitivity syndromes? The syndromes can run in families, parents, siblings, children. Abuse or trauma in childhood can also play a role, as it does in many other conditions. Many with these syndromes have neither of these. What are triggers or precipitants for central sensitivity syndromes? In predisposed individuals, there is often a trigger or a precipitant in the form of a stressor. This includes infections, for example after a flu, physical trauma, for example after a car accident, or psychological stress or trauma, for example burnout, or even a single traumatic event. What else goes wrong with central sensitivity syndromes? Central sensitization is the result of problems with the endocrine or the hormone system, the immune system, and inflammation. There are also problems with the cell's mitochondria, the energy powerhouses of the cell. Are there other factors that come into play in central sensitivity syndromes? Yes. Poor sleep, overexertion, reduced activity, stress, depression and anxiety can all turn up the dial of sensitivity and make symptoms worse. What are examples of central sensitivity syndromes? Fibromyalgia, myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome, irritable larynx syndrome, multiple chemical sensitivities, chronic Lyme-like syndromes, irritable bowel syndrome, tension-type headaches, temporomandibular disorders, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, non-cardiac chest pain, costochondritis, restless leg syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder, myofascial pain syndrome, and pelvic pain syndromes. Neuroendocrine immune dysfunction can come from a number of different factors, including genetic predisposition, environmental and chemical factors, neonatal childhood trauma, psychological factors like stress, autonomic nervous system dysfunction, as well as poor sleep, physical trauma, infections and inflammation, and other factors, which all lead to a hyperexcitement of the neurons that leads to central sensitization, which leads to central sensitivity syndromes.